we started proper. Episode number 8 of the $9 podcast is now in your ears and in your eyeballs. Unfortunately, sorry. This podcast is not sponsored by C4. But here's hoping one day. As always, I'm Drewski. I am the moderator of the TalkShop Patreon. And basically the air traffic controller of all the shenanigans that goes on in what is known as the Falcon's Nest, which is the self-appointed, self-glossed term that the members of the chat have referred to actual chat as now, thanks to a rather inside joke months ago about Gallows and his son. Trust me, it's a deep dive, one of many deep dives that will never get gotten to, because that is the way of things. Basically, you have to. If you're new, you're not going to. Don't expect it to be spoon-fed, really, about a lot of the info. There will be helpful members of the Patreon that will point you in the right direction, but trust me, it's worth it. When you do the sleuthing yourself, you'll be rewarded. Besides, if you signed up for the Patreon, you will pretty much have a pretty good idea what to expect with Machine Gun Gallows and the absent Rocky Romero. And the boys today, as I'm taping this, well, about 8:30 in the morning, my time, trying to get this in before the neighbors start getting the lawnmowers out and ruining any chance of a decent podcast happening. Well, the boys are in Hilton Head, South Carolina, doing a celebrity golf tournament, which is for their Machine Gun's neighbor, Low Cash. Considering most golf tournaments are Considering most celebrity golf tournaments are under the proviso of a beer hole or an open bar every hole, there will be a running tab, more pun intended, but in terms of how many holes will LG get into? Will LG be able to continue to actually make it through all 18? Or will he forget where he is by hole number 8? And I hope to God the gun is videotaping all of this, because it is quality entertainment in the making. And my God, it's like, you all heard about what Gallows went up to, Gallows' weekend excursions were. You just expect, that's a normal Gallows thing. And the scary thing is he's toned down. He's toned down from Japan. The story, the sponsor party stories are legendary when it comes to the LG. That was younger time, wilder time. Boys had a bit of a chip on their shoulders. These are the sponsored parties where where the Bizzles would be invited, and they would protect the business, because it's in Japanese culture, it's part of it's part of the sponsor parties, where it's like they consider it an honor to be chopped by the wrestlers, because they feel that it makes them sympathize with what the wrestlers go through. They want to be blessed by it. It got to the point where the got to the point where the Bizzles were almost getting to shoot heat, because they were laying people out with super kicks, for real, laying them in. there's a couple of videos like that have made the rounds on YouTube about that, and it's Indie Take has said in the past that hey, he's got to I got to protect the business, and they lay him in there, and it's like you see guys getting basically knocked out on their feet. It's highly you try that in the U.S., no chance, no chance. It's like luckily they've calmed down quite a bit, right? Luckily they've calmed down a lot. So from golf tournament, when the boys are like doing meet and greets at horror at comic book and conventions the next couple of days after this. So so the bump card is going to be very light for the rest of the week. So they'll be working out their 8x10 skills, making the cash, making the cash, making towns, making the cash, you know, carnying all over the place. So what do we get? So this weekend is gonna be amazing for the discourse in the IWC. We got WrestlePalooza, which is like WWE's counter programming for All Out, and All Out, then All Out itself, and All Out beyond before WrestlePalooza. It's like the the pettiness like just continues. It's great. What's even great was like CM Punk comes out in interviews saying he hates the name WrestlePalooza. I don't know why we even it's a stupid name. You start thinking, okay, Punk's getting to the point where it's like, okay, I'm done with this shit. It's just some of the stuff he's starting to get antsy like he did like in the latter half of his run in AEW. And 'cause you notice he's been stuck in like one or two little feuds. It's not like he's all over they got him segmented into a program. He's been linked up with Rollins since like day one there. It's like they don't. It's almost like they don't trust him with anybody else. Or it's sort of like it's sort of like a little bit of a punishment. Like, yeah. But anyway, it's like Saturday got the return of Eddie, the return of the Mad King. I've seen the videos with Cesar Bononi, and trust me, Eddie's dropped weight. Those of you who haven't seen it, Eddie's actually got definition in his arms. Cesar is a miracle worker, right? And Eddie looks like he's 5, 10 years younger. Now, well, it helps that he shaved the beard because he had like he had like the Grizzly Adams type beard going on. Now it's like back to being Mad King length. And, he's getting fired up. He's getting fired up. And then you got Shibata versus Daniel Garcia on the pre-show. That's how loaded AEW is. It's like when you can have like world class matches like that on your goddamn on the pre-show, and nobody complains about it. They don't complain about their spot on the card. They just go out there and go out there and do their shit. It's amazing to see. It speaks it's a testament to like the spirit of camaraderie in that whole organization. You we got to talk about Dynamite last night. It's like 3 hours special 3 hour show. It went by in about 90 minutes. That's how fast it was. Everything was fast paced. Great transitions on on a lot of the segments. Some low key barn burners match. It's like going in, nobody was expecting like Bobby Lashley to like give so much to Toa Leona, but it has been said that the Hurt Syndicate wants to put over the gates the gates of agony, and it shows. It made they made Bobby was bumping all over the place. He took like one of the nastiest looking Samoan drops on an apron you'll ever see. It's like, and you got to remember, it's almost 50, right? I mean, it's like he hasn't taken a bump like that in years. It goes to show how much they're willing to do to get the gates of agony over, which is and props to Toa Leone for looking like a beast from that throughout that match. And the ending of that match with Shelton with everybody else getting involved and MVP basically destroying a cane on Ricochet's back. That's a great was a great piece of business all around. Uh, you know, it sets up nicely their tag match with MVP. It's like for on All Out sets that up nicely. And it set up the three-way with Okada and Takeshita and Mascara Dorada, who's going to be the wild card in that match. Basically, it's basically their way of saying, oh, okay, you want Okada Takeshita? Well, we're gonna tease you a bit, but Dorada's gonna come in and sort of make things even more unsure. But the showdown between those two, Okada and Takeshita, it's happening. You got to because remember they're about to announce the C2 lineup for the Continental Classic, and that's going to be stacked as hell. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if one Roderick Strong is after his showing against Mox gets put in that tournament because he deserved it. That was a hell. He put Mox through hell. Yeah, it's like he understood the assignment. It's like yeah. But Roddy's got a Roddy, and then it's like Roddy doesn't half-ass shit at all. Never has. And, you've got cohesion at the top of the women's championship going on. Got the women's four-way, which is shaping up to be another bar burner, and you have Edge and Christian, or Cope and Christian Cage, or Christian Cage and Cope. That's Christian wants it against FTR. It's been a match years in the making. They're hyping it up as such, but I don't part of me is all I don't know. It could go it could go a lot of different ways because Stokely's the wild card and all that. And I wouldn't be surprised if Beth came out to even the odds against Stokely because they keep bringing her up. Kept bringing her up in promos, and also they've been bringing up the Bullet Club a lot in promos. It's like talking about the Bang Bang Gang and the Bucks and the Bang Bang Gang look decent, because they Juice and Austin Gunn don't really get a chance to tag that much together. But when they, they by about halfway through the match, things were starting to click for them real well. And it's like it was great to see like Juice pull out a sling blade out of not like a switchblade move out of finisher out of nowhere. As pretty much a tribute to Jay White, and I'm loving what the Bucks are doing. How can you not love what the Bucks are doing? Basically, and the fact that they're actually referencing BTE angles on Dynamite after how long? You want to talk about restoring the feeling? That is restoring the feeling because the first year of AEW's existence was on the backs of like BTE skits, more or less. Yeah, the Bucks, the Bucks acting like people who, you know, with no financial literacy who win the lottery and just basically throwing money everywhere. It's like Nick, Nick handing out money to the crowd, trying to bribe, trying to bribe Rick Knox. Matt scooping up the money in a panic after the match. It's like God damn it, save it, save it, save it. And, Nick's doing like low key. Nick might be doing like a thing about Cody's saying it's always been spend more spend money when spend if you spend money you make more spend money to make more and it's sort of like a subtle thing and I can't having the pay-per-view at noon for AEW is amazing because they'll be over by 4 in the afternoon, 5 in the afternoon on a Saturday because everybody's day free the rest of the weekend. And but just imagine the course is going to be amazing. You know, considering that apparently even coming up to the like 11th hour, it's like there's not they're having trouble finding WWE's having trouble trying to tell people, hey, this is where you can watch WrestlePalooza because it's confusing the hell out of a lot of their audience. There's a whole lot of cable stations aren't even going to carry it, so it's going to eat into their viewership. But you can say, okay, okay, we got the money on it, we got your money, blah 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 blah. Yeah, I just hope that you don't take it out on the talent on the card. It's like they're doing what they're there to work. They're not really privy what goes on behind the scenes. It's like don't blame the talent. It's like blame the higher ups. And speaking of the higher ups, like, you know, well, this goes up when Machine Gun gets this, so he'll have 3 episodes in the can of this podcast. Episode 6. I signed him about 10 days ago, and you know, the boy's busy. I understand. But I don't want to keep having to premiere it in the chat. To a day or two before he does it in May. It's like I know. It's like why can't I have a premiere like everybody else? What, I'm not good enough for premiere? Yeah. Well, some people would say, yeah, you're not good enough for premiere. I see you. And there was some discourse in the Falcons nest the other day, like yesterday, about how Gallows needs, we need to have a fund to get Gallows like new microphones with better batteries. I said, oh, okay, where's that money coming from? Oh, that's right, they're taking out of my supposed budget. Taking out of my supposed pay. And people are just, oh, that's pretty good in the Sirius Radio Network. And going, and people wonder why I've been flogging my merch. You know, like flogging this merch on the website. On in the chat for the past couple weeks. Since it's because hey, I'd like to get paid for something, right? It's like If you're interested in helping the boy out, the link to the link link to the capitalist my capitalist merch shop will be in this will be in the description. And yeah, you'll notice I've put like I'm starting to put episodes public now on my YouTube channel. It's like Scurvy Dog 619 official, just so people know where it is. It's like it's supposed to be Patreon exclusive, but what I'm trying to do is I'm going to have an episode the episode any episode I upload the Patreon into the Falcons. That's the Patreon. It'll be Patreon exclusive for about a week, and then it'll go public. And you also notice I've been playing around with like the playing around with AI just a bit. It's like as an artist, one time I was an aspiring comic book artist. It's like I look at AI as sort of like a rough draft I can do in seconds. Like it's the equivalent of doing like a quick pencil sketch. As AI goes, it saves time a lot because if you've ever delved in like the hours a comic book artist goes into into doing stuff, comic book artists on an average they'll do average a page a day. It'll take them like 12 to 16 hours to draw one page of a comic, right? And that's all that it's like 12 to 16 hours for one page. That's a lot of time, right? It's like AI is sort of do in seconds what I can do. What used to take me hours to do. But yeah, I'm not gonna apologize for trying to do things better, do things faster. Is it ethical? So what ethics have been thrown out the window pretty much. Honestly, it's like whatever tools you need to do the job. It's like you use them. Like you don't. It's at the end of the day, it's basically it's your ideas still, right? It's just the medium's different, and that's all that really matters. All that really matters at all.